Hi, I am Nitin Kumar. Today I am going to start with the PSIR optional, and the topic is Plato. And Plato used to say one statement, that is, the beginning is the most important part of the work. So even in the practical life, once something is well begun, it means it is half done. Now, so Plato's timeline, his lifeline is from 428 to 347 BC, and he wrote many outstanding works, and the three important works are the Republic, the Statesman, and Laws. So Republic was wrote between 380 to 370 BC, and the Statesman around 360 BC, and the Laws 350 BC. Now, the Plato's work is of a perennial interest. So whenever we are saying perennial interest, it means it is beyond time, it is beyond a spatial distribution. So whether it is ancient period, medieval period, or even the modern period, Plato's work is of an interest for whole humanity, and he actually propounded many a theory, and the most important one is related to the philosopher king, and one is related to the philosophical idealism. So whenever he was talking about the philosophical idealism, he is talking about the virtue. He has given more importance to the virtue. He given more importance to the, you can say, this soul, and according to him the soul is the actual thing, and we shouldn't believe in the materialistic things which is going in and around us now. So it is beyond the senses, world of the senses, by the way, and he has formulated the defined political idea within a larger framework of the philosophical idea of good. So he talked about what is good life. He was not only talking about the life, so he differentiated between the good life and life, by the way. He was talking that look, the mere existence of life is not end in itself, but we should have a good life, by the way, and the life should be for the betterment of the people in general. Now, so let's see the next one. And Plato is credited for the foundation of the Greek political theory, and as he explored, analyzed, and covered a wide range of philosophical Western political tradition. So whole political tradition of the Europe actually started with the Socrates, and he was the great disciple of the Socrates, and it is being said that you can criticize the Plato, his ideas, by the way, you can admire the ideas of the Plato, but you can't deny Plato. Okay, so was the reverence, so was the criticism of the Plato and the theory propounded by him. So Aristotle actually is the disciple of Plato, and also critics of the Platonic ideas of Republic, and he rejected many of them, but extends Plato's formulation in the law. So actually what the Plato said in the Republic, he actually disregarded that this Aristotle, but he follows the idea given in the book Laws, by the way. It is for this reason that the Whitehead given the very fitting tribute to the Plato, and said that the actual statement is, entire European philosophical tradition is nothing but a set of footnotes of the Plato. So whatever Plato wrote on any page, and the footnote on that page is all European philosophical tradition. So Plato actually met Socrates in 407 BC at the age of 20, and actually he was in a hypnotic spell. So whenever we are saying hypnotic spell, the Socrates used to have so much of influence over the Plato that he didn't came out from the actual influence of Socrates, by the way. Now, so the decisive and persuasive the influence that he abandoned the idea of becoming a poet. So earlier the Plato used to have a kind of you can say the objective of becoming a poet in the life, but due to the influence of the Socrates, he actually abandoned that idea, and it was natural that the trial and the execution of the Socrates in the 399 BC proved to be the turning point of the Plato's life. Okay. So now, so whenever we are going to discuss about the thinkers, and once we want to understand the thinker, we have to take care of 2-3 things, by the way. So at first we have to know what is he or she is famous for, and what are the major ideas actually he propounded and unique thought about that particular thinker. So on these 3 premises actually we have to study about the political thinkers, and political thinkers often thought about how the constitution should be and how the state to be. So political thinker propounded theory related to the constitution and how it should be framed and how the state should be and what should be the objective of the state, by the way. Now, so Plato belongs to the ancient Greece period, and he is known for his theory philosopher king. Certainly we are going to discuss this later on, and next is we are studying Plato to evaluate this idea. So why we are actually studying this Plato? Just to evaluate the idea, and you should also know the influences over the thinker while studying thinker. So once we are going to study thinker, we have to understand how he had influenced the others and how he was being influenced by the others, by the way. Now, influences over the Plato, certainly Socrates used to have the major influence of on the Plato, but Pythagoras he used to admire, and some of his theory was taken from the Pythagoras theorem related to the triangle. Now, Plato belongs to Athens, and he was a patriot, and the city-state exists at that time. So before Plato, actually there was a war between the Athens and the Sparta, and Athens lost that particular war, and Plato wanted to find out the reason of the defeat of the Athens, and certainly he wanted to go into the deep-rooted cause of the that particular defeat he had gone through and the state has gone through at that time. And actually the Athens before that defeat used to be one of the prosperous city-state, and Plato belongs to a aristocratic class, aristocratic society. Now, so this is the aristocratic society, and he wanted to join the politics but became ultimately the philosopher, by the way. So what does philosopher means? Phile, whenever we have a word phile, it means love, and Soph means wisdom. So anybody used to have a love for the wisdom is a philosopher. Now, a studying thinker, we have to understand the different school of thought. Different school of thought means the different way the things being propounded. Sometime one school of thought used to be totally against to the other school of thought. So as far as the school of thoughts are concerned, it can be divided into the 2 ways. Idealistic means what should be, and realistic is what is right now. So idealistic school of thought is something of a utopian world, something of a ivory tower actually which we want to achieve. That is the ideal state we are talking about, and the realistic is what is right now we are going through. Now, Plato belonged to the idealistic school, means he has propounded a theory which is more ideal rather than being a practical. So Plato belongs to the idealistic school. A studying thinker need to understand the methodology, and as far as the methodology is concerned, there are 2 types of methodology. One is the dialectics. Di means what? Di means 2, and lect means or loquio means talk. So we are going to reach to the answer by the decision, carefully thinking about the facts there, and other is the deductive approach, and here we are going to have some kind of you can say the actual result only through the logical discussion. So whenever we are saying the logical discussion, it means somebody has propounded the thesis and it can have an antithesis. So thesis on the one hand plus antithesis on the other hand ultimately lead to the synthesis. Now, so if something positive has been propounded, there can be something negative here, and good of this thesis and good things about this antithesis usually being mixed, and now what we have is a synthesis. Let's see, by the way, just a minute. Now, so whenever we are studying the political thinker, we have to read or study in terms of at first the which time he belongs, which period he belongs, which place he belongs, what is the major idea of that particular thinker, by the way, how he is being influenced, or how he actually influenced the others, by the way, the methodology and the school of thought. So these are the parameters according to which we are going to study the political thinkers. Now, so prominent idea of the Plato, first was the theory of ideas, the second was the theory of justice, third was the theory of education, and through this theory of education only actually he want to choose this philosopher king, and this philosopher king is used to be very ideal person, and actually he has every right to have a governance over the state, by the way. So this theory of education is very important as far as choosing the philosopher king is concerned. And we have a theory of communism also, and later on we have a critics of the Plato. Just take the example of Aristotle. Now, Aristotle on Plato, what the Aristotle used to say something about the Plato, and Aristotle, as we know, is a great disciple and the fiercest critics of the Plato. So even there are other critics also, like the Karl Popper. He wrote a famous book, that is the Open Society and the Enemy, and in this book he called the Plato actually enemy of the open society and called the first fascist. Now, so you have to understand what is fascist in a general parlance. By the fascist are those person actually used to say that look, whatever we are saying and whatever theory we are propounding, whatever ideology we are propounding, that is the right thing and everybody should follow. They used to negate the other side of any idea. By the way, only one side of idea they used to propound, and they used to accept that idea. Now, so once the Karl Popper is saying that he was the enemy of the open society, what does it mean? It means that he was saying that the idea propounded by the Plato is not actually a practical thing. He talk about the man of gold, man of copper, man of iron, okay, and he talk about the his education policy related to the education. So he was talking about the idealistic thing, and he was saying that only the philosopher king is fit to actually run the state and lead the governance of the state, and he is negating the other ideas. So Karl Popper called him an enemy of the open society. Actually, he was prohibiting any kind of you can say the talk or dialectics once somebody is elected as a philosopher king. Okay, now nobody is going to question the actual wisdom of the philosopher king, and this lead to the actually the enemy of the open society. Now, So Plato is called as a father of political philosophy, and the works of the Plato. So the Republic we are talking about earlier, it is in the form of the dialogue, and the main character in that particular book was Socrates, and the book name was Republic. And so we see the transition in the Plato's idea also. So once we compare the young Plato with the mature Plato, okay, the ideas was quite different. Now once Plato was young, okay, he was very idealistic and utopian, and he wrote the book the Republic. So the content of Republic is all about the constitution or the ideal state, by the way. Okay, Republic is not in that particular term. Once we say that Republic means the any state which used to have a elected head, like India we have a elected head, we have a president here who is indirectly elected, by the way. So the subtitle is a concerning justice. Now, so matured Plato wrote the important book the Law, and next one is the Socrates, and actually he was quite influenced by the major idea given in the theory of the knowledge and his foundation to know the Plato. So introduction to of the Socrates. Socrates means, according to him, is the wisest man on the earth, and he was known as the father of philosophy. So let's start with the theory of idea, by the way. So actually he had divided the things in the two part, by the way, classified the things in the two part. First one is the physical world. Physical world is all about the pleasure. Physical world is all about the materialistic life. Physical world is all about the amenities, by the way, and other world is of world of idea. So in the physical world he said that it is related to the matter body, it is related to the physical real, it is related to the materialistic, and it is a short sightedness. Okay, so it is all about the pleasure and nothing else. And once he talk about the idea, he is saying that it is actually from the God, it is comes into the soul, and that soul is going to be the idealistic one, and the accordingly the thing is not related to the actually not related to the, you can say, the long term perspective he was talking, by the way. So Plato wanted to establish the world of ideas now. So context, as I told you, he was defeated, and even the Athens to whom he belonged by the way was defeated by Sparta, and actually he want to know what was the main reason behind it, why this Athens which used to be a prosperous city state once actually defeated by this Sparta. So he diagnosed the actual reason behind it, and he found that actually the persons are quite ignorant, and as far as the ruling class is concerned, they are quite ignorant, by the way. So why the ruling class was ignorant? The ruling class was ignorant because they were running after the money, they are running after the material things, and they believe that the money and the power is everything. Money and power is everything, and only the money and power is the true sense of true source of happiness. But that lead to the irresponsibility also. Sometimes it lead to the lackluster behavior also. Hence they were not in a position to do justice with their job, and his job was to actually run the country in a just manner. Once he was talking about the just manner, it means for every person there is a place, and for every place there is a person, and once you provide particular place and the appropriate place to the person, it is about the justice. Now, ignorance is the root cause of corruption, and corruption is the root cause of defeat of Athens. Now, so why actually the kings were running after the money and the power? Plato actually divided the Athens into two parts. One is the city of rich and other is the city of poor, by the way. rich becoming richer and the poor becoming poor. It means it leads to the dichotomy. Even we are facing nowadays due to the means of production belongs to the one class, the rich class. They used to have a more power to earn money, and through that money they can avail the materialistic things, by the way. So and this lead to the exploitation of the poor, and this leads to the exploitation of the poor, and the rich class became very ignorant about the poor. Now hence there was no unity in the society, since there is a you can say the big chasm between the poor and the rich. So the society was not acting in a unified manner, and it was internally divided, and once it is internally divided, it is very easy for the Sparta to have a control over the Athens, and actually due to the internal reason it led to the defeat. So when rulers are corrupt and run after money and power, ordinary people will also do the same thing. Now, so as the ruler, so is the subject. So once the ruler is corrupt, once the ruler is looking for money, once the ruler is looking for the power, so is the subjects are also looking for money and power. And once the ruler is a corrupt, so subjects are also going to be corrupt, and once the ruler and the subjects both are corrupt at the same time, certainly it is going to lead to the collapse of the state. Now, Plato held a state is an individual with a large. So if individuals, suppose if one individual is not corrupt, he is honest, if another is honest, if third one is honest, and this way whole society is honest, and this society leads to the city state, and that city state leads to the state, by the way. So it all depends upon whether the individual person is honest or corrupt, because ultimately a state is nothing but a collective thing. So individual has to be the honest one to make the whole society or a state a honest one. Now, so just a minute. Okay, so which means a state is a bigger form of individual. If people are corrupt, a state cannot become great. In a similar way, Pandit Nehru held, who survive if India dies, and if India dies, who survive? That is the famous quote by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So actually the whole identity of the Indian depends upon the Indianness. Okay, if there is a secessionist force, and if there is a division of the society, if there is a division of the country, certainly the India is not going to survive. So what it requires is a unity and integrity, and the whole idea somewhere comes or emanates from the idea propounded by Plato. In a now it is believed that India is a nation of unrealized potential. So even today our Prime Minister talks about the dividends due to the young population we have. So even he used to talk about that the India do not realize its actual potential. Now the biggest problem which comes in the path of India achieving greatness is a corruption. Okay, there is I am just relating it with the famous quote given by our late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, that he said that actually once the money is sent from the center to the people in general, only the 15% of the money actually reached to the actual beneficiaries, by the way. And he said that the actual reason behind the underdevelopment or not developing as fast as we can is a corruption, and even that was a thing given by the Plato also. So thus for Plato, corruption was the root cause of defeat of Athens. Ignorance of ruling class was not a root cause of corruption. Okay, and hence the only way Athens can become the ideal state is the philosopher with the rulers. So ignorance, corruption, okay, love for the money, love for the power, love for the materialistic life actually led to the defeat of the Athens, and the Athens is going to be come out from this lowest ebb is only through the you can say only due to this idea of the philosopher king, the ideal person. So why philosopher be the ruler? By definition, philosopher is the person who has a true knowledge, Only philosopher understand what is the ultimate reality and what is just an illusion. So only philosopher understand what is the reality and what is the illusion, and so only he is in a position to make understand the subject that look, this is not a right path, this is a wrong path, and shouldn't venture out in that particular path. A philosopher king is a ruler who possesses both a love of wisdom as well as the intelligence, reliability, willingness to live a simple life. Okay. So only philosopher king, even with the good amount of knowledge, want or willingness to live the simple life just for the sake of the state, for the betterment of the state, and since he has a intelligence, he has a reliability, he has a wisdom, so he is in a position to actually guide the people, guide the subject, this is right or that is wrong. Why the theory of idea? Because he wanted Athens to be the ideal state. Now, so who can understand the ideal state? Only the philosopher can understand. And how to understand the idea? Method of dialectics or the logical reasoning. I told you earlier, if there is a thesis, there can be antithesis, and this thesis and antithesis, and through the dialectics only they come out with the synthesis. Plato is an idealist. In a political philosophy, we can categorize a scholar into two schools of thought. One is the idealistic and other is the materialistic. So for idealistic, idea is the real. Actually, they are looking for the utopian world, okay, imaginary world where everything is good. Okay, it is something like a Shangri-La. Now materialistic, okay, they believe in the matter and the physical existence of pleasure, by the way. Okay, like in today's world we have a car, bungalow, AC and all sort of things, by the way. Thus for the materialistic, the world is which we live in the real world, and material pleasure is the real pleasure. On the other hand, for idealistic, this world is a world of illusion. So idealistic used to say the materialistic world is a world of illusion. There is nothing as such. There is no substance as such. Okay, and the real world is the world of the ideals, by the way, world of the idea, by the way, actually which is led by God. God used to transfer in the soul, and that soul comes into the people, and that people actually lead a good life, and actually the goal of our life is a good life, not the life, it is not about the exhaling or inhaling, by the way. So satisfaction of goal he was talking about. Why we think world of matter is real? According to Plato, it because of our ignorance. Now the question arises, why even the world according to him, which is an illusion in reality, why people actually believe in that? Now, so he had given the Allegory of Caves. Okay, he had drawn a parallel between the caves and the person sitting in the caves, by the way. So what are the feature of the Allegory of Caves he gave, by the way? Suppose some person are sitting in a cave with the hands tied in the back towards the mouth of the cave. Suppose this is a cave and somebody is sitting here, okay, his mouth is towards this, and okay, and his hand is tied, so he is not in a position to move backward, and the sun ray is coming from this way. So what he is seeing, actually his own shadow here, he is not actually seeing the things here. in reality, by the way. So this shadow is nothing but an illusion. In the same way, whenever we are thinking that the materialistic pleasure is actual pleasure, okay, that is not the reality. It is just an illusion, and this is the theory propounded by Plato. So such a person are looking at the shadow of things outside of the world wall of the cave. Since they have not seen the real things, they consider shadow as a reality. Okay, somebody pushed them out of the cave, by the way. Now, so only the philosopher king, only the teacher who can differentiate between what is illusion and what is the real world, actually let that particular person to know, look, this is not the reality, this is not the reality. So certainly mentor used to have a role to play here according to Plato. Initially the feel pains in the eyes, but later on understand what they were thinking was just a shadow of reality. Now, so once the teacher or the mentor start teaching them, look, this is illusion, this is the reality, the person who at first faced reality, okay, actually used to have a pain there. He or she is going to feel the pain, but later on he is going to adapt himself according to the ideal state, according to the reality, not the illusion. So reality is a shadow of Plato. That was the theory propounded. In his theory, Plato explains that reality is a shadow of idea. When he uses the term reality in above statement, he points toward the word of matter. According to him, it is because of our ignorance that we think that the world is real. However, reality is the world of ideas. So actual world is the world of idea, and the illusion is not the world of idea. And thus he was quite influenced by the theory of knowledge propounded by the Socrates, to whom he was a disciple. The purpose behind theory of idea is to establish that an ideal state, Athens, can be made ideal state. So why he was talking about the ideal state? Because he want to change the Athens at that time defeated by the Sparta into an ideal state where the philosopher king is going to rule, and all the subject used to get the justice. Justice means work according to their ability. Now, the problem of Athens was corrupt among the ruling class. Reason for corruption was ignorance. He explains the reality as a shadow of an idea through the allegory of caves, and cave is the symbol of ignorance. A person who lives in a cave of ignorance does not want to come out in the sunlight, will continue to believe shadow as a real. Okay, and if somebody not coming out from the cave, he is not actually facing the sun ray, and if he is not facing the sun ray, he is not facing the pain, and if he or she is not facing the pain, okay, he want to live in that particular shadow, and he used to believe that shadow is the real, but that is not the reality. Now, so Plato talks about the ideas as a perfection. Idea belong to the world of permanence, and the main idea is the beyond time and space, and it is transcendental in nature. So Plato talks about the idea as a perfection. So if you want to have a perfection, certainly we have to some kind of idea, and idea related to the good life. Now, once there is a good life, not only the life, it lead to the permanence, and that permanence is beyond the time and space, and it's also transcend the nature. So that's all from my side for today, and we will study something more in the next part. Thank you.